Welcome back to your daily Doctor Strange 2 cameo update. Well, not exactly, but kind of, because that's where all the hype is starting to center around. Welcome to the Chaos Multiverse, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. Yes, we are going to be elaborating more on the Iron Man kind of leaks and rumors that are flying around. The writers have actually spoken out about Tony Stark and what happens if a writer tries to go to the Marvel upper tier, the heads of Marvel, and pitch anything to do with Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in a cameo in a movie. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Tom Cruise and that wild rumor that's going around. We talked about it before, but we have some new information on that and other variants. Now there's talk that Scarlet Witch, Wanda, will actually have a variant or two in Doctor Strange 2, which is weird because in the comics, the Scarlet Witch is a Nexus being, which means she crosses over multiverses. She doesn't have variants like everybody else. She is a single entity, if you will, but it looks like that may actually be changing for this movie. We already know Doctor Strange has at least two other variants in this movie. We saw them in the trailer. We saw Defender Strange. We saw Strange Supreme. We saw our MCU timeline Doctor Strange. So it's not above and beyond to think that Wanda could have variants, and you could see a variant of Iron Man Tony Stark as well. But let's talk about it. First, let's start with the untouchable Robert Downey Jr. So writers were interviewed not too long ago, and they kind of made it crystal clear on what happens if a writer tries to pitch a cameo or bring Robert Downey Jr. back in any capacity in a Marvel movie right now. It's called a non-starter, which means there is no start. It's as if I was to go sit down at Kevin Feige's desk and say, Kevin, let's bring Robert back as, and Kevin would say, end of conversation. That's where Marvel is with Robert Downey Jr. right now. Not because they're upset, not because they're mad, because he did so good. He cast such a huge shadow on the entire MCU, especially through Endgame and beyond, that now they have to pull away from that. They have to stop going to what the writer said is the Tony well. They have to figure out other creative solutions other than leaning on Iron Man right now. Now, that's not to say in 5 or 6 years when it wears off and his sacrifice is kind of a little numbed down that we might see Iron Man in some form or fashion when it comes to Robert Downey Jr. Heck, we could possibly see him as an AI in Armor Wars or Ironheart or anything like that where the shows or the movies are predicated around his technology and even his family and friends. I don't think that would be pushing it too far. If you saw maybe Tony left that AI behind for when his daughter grows up or for Rhodes, whatever, and then he's in the suit like Jarvis was. I think it would be really cool. They could have him do voice acting. Then again, they're probably not going to want to pay him his premium price to just do some voice acting and not actually be on screen, but we'll find out. I think, though, that the new would have worn off by the time we get to Secret Wars down the road. Yes, my prediction is Secret Wars 5, 6, 7 years from now, whatever it may be. Doctor Doom, multiple different Avengers from all different timelines. The multiversal war has already gone on with Kang the Conqueror, and we get to the Secret Wars. We have all these different variants of all these heroes. It could be crazy. Then it would make sense to see some form of an Iron Man variant that could possibly be Robert Downey Jr. But right now, it's a non-starter. It's a no-go. It's a don't touch. The floor is lava. Stay away from it. But we also have this rumor about an Iron Man variant that's not Robert Downey Jr. We already talked about this. Tom Cruise, you see the photos flying around. Whether or not they're fan edits, Photoshops, it remains to be seen. But everybody's talking about it because he has this loose connection with the MCU because they actually went after him for the original Tony Stark character in Iron Man 1. He had creative differences with the script, and the rest is history. Robert Downey Jr. got the role, and I honestly couldn't imagine it any other way. But what if Tom Cruise comes in Doctor Strange 2 as an Iron Man variant? The rumor is he would come as a superior Iron Man. If you don't know the comics, go check them out. Very egotistical, I would say narcissistic Iron Man that does put an armor around the world. And he has his Ultron drones, and that's what he does. Now, there is some concept art out there with Professor X sitting in a chair and 2 Ultron drones actually escorting a Doctor Strange version down the hall. Now, is Professor X controlling these Ultron drones, or could it be an Iron Man variant? I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see, but the rumors are we're going to get all kinds of Foxverse variants and cameos. It's going to be... Doctor Strange 2 is going to be another level above Spider-Man No Way Home. That's just, it's true. It's happening. It's going to be absolutely insanity, and it's the Multiverse of Madness for a reason. So, I was watching Emergency Awesome. I'm a huge fan of Charlie. I'm a huge fan of his channel, and I got a little bummed when he predicted that he thinks the Tom Cruise Iron Man variant rumors are false. And I'll tell you why. Do I want Iron Man's legacy to be tarnished? No. Robert Downey Jr.'s? No, absolutely not. But the second they cracked open the multiverse, they have all kinds of angles. I mean, look at Spider-Man No Way Home. Look at what they're going to do with all these other variants in Foxverse and everything like that. The X-Men, the Fantastic Four. There's even a rumor that Reed Richards is coming as John Krasinski's a variant, which I don't agree with because that would mean that he couldn't be the main Mr. Fantastic, which I think he should be, but we'll talk about that on another video. The point is, I don't think it tarnishes Robert Downey Jr.'s legacy if you have a variant come in as a cameo for Doctor Strange 2. And what better way to do it and get everybody jaw-dropping in the movie theater than to have freaking Tom Cruise? He could come in and do his own stunts in his Iron Man suit, whatever. Doesn't matter. I would love to see his depiction, his angle of playing Tony Stark. And I think he could knock it out of the park. I really, really do. I think Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, for sure. But I think Tom Cruise could definitely add a little flavor to a variant. So you guys let me know what you think. Right now, it's leaning towards it's not true. My fingers are crossed that it is. I'll see you guys soon.